How's it going, YouTube? Dallasboi here, back in with another Pokemon Black and White 2 Wi-Fi battle. In this battle, I'm going up against QuickBobHero, who actually challenged me on Skype, asking for a battle, because he wanted to get away from Showdown and whatnot. But I pretty much made this team with Ging and Ninja, who is a Smogon moderator, and I've also used this team a few times on Showdown, and it's been doing me pretty good. We both kind of built it around SD Garchomp and Specs Gothitelle, so yeah, but we'll actually see how this team goes in this match. So, anyways, looking at teams, I'm looking at the Latios and the Tyranitar as pretty big threats. And if my Latios is to maul anything, I need to get rid of that Tyranitar first to avoid running the risk of it having pursuit. And pretty much get rid of T-Tar, and Latios can just drop a massive deuce on its team if his own Latios isn't scarfed, because mine actually is. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the team preview. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. So my opponent's going to be leading off with his Infernape, and I'm going to be leading off with my Terrakion, which is actually a Stealth Rock lead on this team and not scarfed or anything. But knowing that I can take a close combat if I lose the speed tie and retaliate and take his Infernape out, I'm just gonna go for this. Just gonna go straight for the close combat anyway. But he actually sends out his Gliscor, which pretty much kind of forces me to switch out and go into my Gothitelle, which is nicknamed Meg Griffin. But on the switch, he pretty much knew that I was gonna switch, so he's just gonna be setting up the Stealth Rocks to bust my Terrakion's Focus Dash. But at that price, his Gliscor cannot switch out, and is pretty much trapped by my Specs Gothitelle. I choose to lock myself in Psychic, and pretty much run the risk of Tyranitar just completely mauling my Gothitelle. But after I take out this Gliscor, I kinda sorta don't really need Gothitelle all that much, since my Terrakion does carry the taunt, and the taunt can kind of sorta bust the Skarmory. So there's my reasoning behind that. So anyways, after a few Spec Psychics, Gliscor goes down, and out comes Tyranitar. And I was actually kind of predicting that he would go for the Pursuit here, but he actually doesn't, and I can get off the switch into my Landorus, but he actually pulls up a free sub, and knowing that I would want to break it, I have the choice to either go for the U-turn or the Earthquake, and I actually go for the latter of the two, and he actually surprises me here, and actually pulls off the Ice Beam, and cleanly takes out my Landorus Incarnate form. And a little spoiler to the team, my Landorus is actually a Scarfed variant. So let me just put that in your guys' mind, since it didn't get too much showing off and such. But now I'm going to be sending out my Terrakion to threaten to T-Tar out, and I'm just going to go straight for the close combat here, and then actually follow up with a taunt to prevent this Skarmory from setting up any hazards, or in this case, going for the Roots here. And I pretty much know that the switch is kind of obvious here, so I'm actually going for the Stealth Rocks, as he is going to be switching out into his Latios. And I don't know what this Latios is going to do, so the best thing I have to do is pretty much send in my Gothitelle Meg Griffin in as Death Fodder, as he actually goes for the HP Fire. And I'm thinking that this Latios is actually Specs, so what I'm going to be doing here is going to be extremely risky. I'm going to be going out to Kiva the Genesect, and if you get the reference, bravo to you. And I'm actually going to make him think that I'm actually a Choice Scarf variant of Genesect. So that actually will force him to switch out into his Tyranitar, and I actually go for the U-turn and take him out. And this is important, because since Tyranitar is out, my Latios is actually freed to pretty much punch holes in his team. And I am going to be going out into said Latios right now, as he actually is going to be going out into his Infernape. And he actually told me in the Skype call after this battle that he pretty much found out right there that my Latios was scarfed. And I actually just went for the Draco Meteor to just do super much damage to anything that wants to come in or stay in or pretty much whatever. But now, knowing that I'm a Scarf variant of Latios, he's actually going to be going out into Skarmory, and knowing that I'm locked in, he's actually going to go for the roost here, knowing that he does have a free turn to roost and whatnot. And here I'm actually going to predict a switch into either Latios or Virizion, and actually go for the Ice Beam. And he actually goes into the latter of the two, and I was so hoping that he would have gotten to Latios right there. And, yeah, if he went out, but he pretty much made the better move in going out into Virizion as Death Fodder, which actually does scare me a bit to go into my Garchomp as pretty much Death Fodder, so I can get a free switch into my Latios. And he actually winds up going for the Ice Shock, and I actually live the second one with 1 HP and retaliate with an Outrage. And this pretty much seals the battle for me right here, because I don't have the threat of a Latios potentially wrecking my team, and he could abuse the fact that my Latios was Scarfed and switch back and forth between Skarmory and Latios. But apparently, since he got min damage on that last Ice Shock, that pretty much didn't really happen. But now I'm just gonna try to get out some last second damage on Skarmory, but I actually hit myself in confusion after the 2-turn Outrage, and Skarmory's actually gonna be going for the Roost here, predicting me to either keep myself in confusion or knowing that he can brush off any damage with the Roost. But now I'm going to be going into Genesect, who pretty much is, in my opinion, the MVP of this match. And I'm just going to be going for the Flamethrower, because it's pretty much the best thing I have to hit Skarmory with on this moveset. And now he's just going to be going for the Roost once more. Kind of futile right here, as it's not going to matter too much for the rest of the battle, as one more Flamethrower is actually going to be taking out the Skarmory, and that'll be the game. And after the battle, I actually told my opponent that my Genesect was actually Scarfed. And in my opinion, that bluff with the Expert held on the 13th turn, as I saw in the recording, was actually pretty huge for me, as I was able to scare off the Latios as he was going into his Tyranitar, and I pretty much went for the U-turn, and the opening for my Latios was pretty much open from there, except that Genesect pretty much did most of the work on his team. But anyways, that was a fun game, QuickBobHero, so rate, comment, sub, and I will see you guys next time!